Have you ever let a single comment ruin your entire day? Maybe it was a snide remark from a colleague, an offhand comment from someone you care about, or even just a driver cutting you off in traffic. Suddenly, your peace evaporates. You replay that moment over and over again in your mind, letting it hijack your mood. But here's the uncomfortable truth. No one can control your emotions unless you give them permission. Let that sink in for a second. What if you could walk through life with the kind of calm that nothing and no one could shake? Imagine waking up, sipping your morning coffee, and knowing deep down, today, nothing will steal my peace. Not a rude comment, not unexpected. Delays, not even someone's bad attitude. This isn't just wishful thinking. It's called emotional mastery, and it's something you can learn starting today. In this episode, we're diving into 10 transformative Stoic lessons that will help you stop reacting out of impulse, release unnecessary anger, and take back control over how you feel. And no, this isn't about ignoring your feelings or pretending you're not hurt. It's about developing the inner strength to remain calm, even when everything around you is trying to pull you into chaos. Whether you're dealing with harsh criticism, navigating toxic relationships, or trying to let go of past grudges, these tools will help you build unshakable emotional discipline. By the end of this video, you'll have a whole new mindset, one that keeps your peace protected, no matter what the world throws at you. So if you're ready to break, free from emotional reactivity, and unlock the calm power within you, let's begin. Lesson 1. Your reaction is always your choice. Picture this. You're having a peaceful afternoon. Maybe you're enjoying a quiet walk under the trees, or sitting on your balcony with a warm cup of tea. Then suddenly someone says something rude, dismissive, or just plain thoughtless. That peaceful state you were in, gone in a heartbeat. You feel angry, frustrated, and your mind jumps to blame. Why did they ruin my day? But here's the truth. They didn't. You did. They may have thrown the stone, but you chose to carry it. All day. Your emotions are your responsibility, not theirs, not anyone else's. Nobody has the power to make you feel anything, unless you hand that power over to them. Imagine this. You're wearing high-quality, noise-canceling headphones in the middle of a noisy city. The honking cars, the yelling vendors, the construction drills, none of that disappears. But you hear none of it. Why? Because you've chosen what to let in. That's how emotional mastery works. The world doesn't get quieter. You just get stronger in choosing what reaches you. There's a quote that captures this beautifully. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Every time someone interrupts your peace, cuts you off, mocks your idea, criticizes your efforts, you're standing in that space. The question is, what will you do with it? Previously, we uncovered the truth that your emotional reactions are a choice, one that belongs to you alone. Now let's take that realization one step further. Because in the moment between what happens and how you respond, lies a pause. And within that pause, there is power. The power to choose calm over chaos, strength over impulsiveness, clarity over confusion. Let's explore how this works in real life. Imagine you're in a meeting and your co-worker casually dismisses your idea in front of everyone. You feel that familiar surge. Anger rising, pride wounded, thoughts racing. Your instinct might be to snap back or stew in resentment for the rest of the day, but instead, you stop, you breathe, and you pause. In that tiny moment of stillness, you ask yourself, is this really about me, or is it about them? Maybe their stress, their bias, or even their insecurity. By reframing the situation, you disarm its power to control you. You're not suppressing your emotions, you're simply observing them instead of becoming them. That's the beauty of this approach. It doesn't ask you to feel less. It asks you to respond wiser. Emotions like anger, frustration, and disappointment, they're natural. But just because they show up doesn't mean they get to take over. You're not a puppet to your emotions. You are the one holding the strings. So how do we practice this mindset in everyday life? Here's a simple 3-step strategy. Step 1. Pause and name what you feel when you sense yourself getting triggered. Pause. Take a breath and identify the emotion. Is it anger, hurt, embarrassment, irritation? Just naming the feeling interrupts your automatic reaction and creates that all-important space between trigger and response. Step 2. Ask the right questions. Reflect. For a moment, why are you feeling this way? Is it because of what happened or because of how you interpreted it? Is your mind spinning a story that makes the situation feel more personal than it actually is? Step 3. Choose your response consciously. Act based on your values, not your impulses. Choose what serves your long-term peace, not your short-term satisfaction. Think, how would my calm, grounded future self respond here? That version of you isn't trying to win the moment. They're protecting your energy for what really matters. Now imagine walking through life like this, unshaken by the rude stranger, unmoved by the passive-aggressive remark, unaffected by everyday annoyances. When you master this approach, all those little things that used to steal your peace, they lose their grip. Why? Because you're no longer reacting by default. You're responding by design. Every single moment becomes a choice. Do I let this affect me, or do I protect my peace? And that choice, that is your true power. Because when you stop letting others dictate your emotional state, you don't just gain emotional mastery, you gain freedom. Lesson 2. Stop expecting people to be like you. Here's a hard truth. People won't always meet your expectations. You give your time, your support, your care, yet when you need something, they disappear. They fall short. They disappoint you, and in that moment you may think, how could they be so inconsiderate? I would never do that to them. But here's the reality. People don't operate by your values. They act based on their own. Expecting them to think, feel, or behave the way you would is like trying to control the weather. Frustrating, impossible, and emotionally draining. Each person is walking their own path, shaped by their background, beliefs, and priorities. When someone lets you down, it often says more about them than about you. Trying to force them to change only leaves you feeling powerless and resentful. Instead, choose acceptance. Accept that people are who they are, not who you want them to. Let's return to our workplace example. Imagine a colleague who constantly interrupts you during meetings. It's annoying. You've hinted. You've hoped they'd notice. They haven't. Rather than seething with frustration or plotting how to confront them, consider this. Their behavior has nothing to do with you. By letting go of the expectation that they'll suddenly change, you stop giving their behavior the power to bother you. You take that energy back. There's a powerful Stoic truth that applies here. Expectations are the root of all suffering. The more you expect people to behave a certain way, the more you set yourself up for disappointment. The less you expect, the more at peace you become. Here's a quick exercise to begin letting go of expectations. Acknowledge your assumptions. The next time someone upsets you, ask yourself, what was I expecting them to do? Mate, challenge that expectation. Is it realistic? Was it ever clearly communicated? Or was it based on your internal assumptions? You'll find that many of your emotional upsets don't come from what someone did, but from what you assumed they should do. Letting go of expectations doesn't mean lowering your standards or letting others walk over you. It simply means releasing the illusion of control and embracing the calm that comes with it. Because the less you try to control others, the more you reclaim control over yourself. And that is emotional freedom. In the last section, we talked about letting go of expectations, understanding that people act from their own nature, not yours. Now let's go even deeper. Because when you stop expecting others to behave exactly the way you would, something powerful happens. You reclaim your peace. Instead of spending your energy trying to control someone else's behavior, you shift your focus inward toward what you can control. Your mindset, your response, your inner calm. Just think about how liberating that is. The rude stranger, the forgetful friend, the inconsiderate co-worker, none of them can disturb your emotional state unless you allow it. Their actions may be irritating, sure, but they don't have to become your emotional burden. When you stop expecting others to live by your standards, you take back the power over your own reactions. You stop trying to micromanage the world, and instead you manage your own peace. Now, accepting this truth doesn't mean you condone bad behavior or that you have to compromise your values. It simply means you've reached a place where your peace is too valuable to be given away over things you cannot control. So the next time someone says something that frustrates you or disappoints you, pause. Tell yourself, they're acting from their own nature, not mine. And that's okay. Because in that pause lies your greatest freedom, the ability to choose your response instead of reacting out of habit. You release not only the need for them to change, but also the emotional weight you've been carrying because of their actions. Lesson 3. Let go of the need to always be right now. Let's talk about something that disrupts our peace more often than we'd like to admit, the need to be right. Think back to the last time you got into an argument. Maybe it was over something minor, like which route to take to a destination. Or maybe it was something deeper, an emotional conversation with a friend, partner, or co-worker. As the discussion escalated, did you feel that pressure building inside? That urge to prove your point, to win the conversation? We've all been there, clinging to our version of the truth like it's a lifeline, as if being wrong somehow means we're less worthy. But here's the truth. The constant need to be right is emotionally exhausting and often unnecessary. That compulsion to win every debate, it rarely comes from strength. It usually comes from insecurity. We fear that if we're wrong, we'll lose respect, credibility, or even identity. But what if that fear is an illusion? What if letting go of the need to always be right actually made you more powerful, not less? Imagine this. Instead of defending your view like a fortress under siege, you respond with calm curiosity. You ask questions instead of making accusations. You listen, even when you disagree. There's a powerful reflection to consider. Would you rather be right, or would you rather be at peace? Because let's be honest, our insistence on being right often creates tension, damages relationships, and fuels long-term resentment. It turns conversations into competitions and turns people into opponents. On the other hand, letting go of that need allows you to approach conflict with grace. You preserve your peace, you maintain your dignity, and you build healthier, stronger connections. Picture this. Someone unfairly accuses you of something you didn't do. Your first instinct, to defend yourself, to go into battle. But before you react, you pause, you ask yourself, is it worth my energy to prove them wrong? Will this argument actually change anything that matters? And often, the answer is, no. Maybe a friend insists their way of solving a problem is better than yours. Instead of diving into a back and forth, you simply say, I see where you're coming from, and I respect your perspective. Just like that, the tension dissolves. You maintain your calm. You refuse to be pulled into a needless battle. There's a beautiful teaching from the Taoist philosopher Lao Tzu. He who is attached to his views will never grow. Letting go of the need to be right doesn't mean abandoning your values or silencing your truth. It means realizing that not every disagreement needs a winner, and not every moment demands a defense. You choose your battles not out of pride, but out of peace. Here's how to begin practicing this powerful mindset. Pause before responding. When you feel that strong urge to argue or defend, take a breath. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy, or is my ego just trying to win? Seek understanding over victory. Instead of trying to prove a point, try to understand theirs. Ask questions. Stay open. Be curious, not combative. Most people don't need to be proven wrong. They just want to feel heard. Letting go of the need to be right doesn't weaken your position. It strengthens your presence. It shows wisdom, maturity, and confidence. Because true power, it isn't in winning every argument, it's in knowing which ones are better left alone. And when you choose peace over pride, you not only protect your emotional well-being, you rise above the noise and step into clarity. In the last section, we explored the freedom that comes from letting go of the need to always be right. Now let's look at another emotional trap that silently robs us of our peace. Letting others' words define our worth. Before we dive into that, here's a final reminder about arguments. Sometimes the most powerful move is not to win, but to walk away with your calm intact. So when you feel that familiar urge bubbling up, to correct, to challenge, to set things straight, ask yourself, will being right make me happy? Or will being calm do more for me? Because the truth is, you don't need to control every conversation. You don't need to win every debate. You only need to protect your energy and preserve your peace. And that brings us to the next lesson. Lesson 4. Stop letting others' words define your worth. Imagine this. You're sharing an idea you're deeply passionate about, something you've spent time thinking through, something that excites you. In the middle of your enthusiasm, someone interrupts. They dismiss your thought with a sarcastic remark or a cold, uninterested glance, just like that. The energy shifts. Your confidence deflates. You begin to doubt yourself. Maybe my idea was silly. Maybe I'm just not good enough. Why does this happen? Because we often give other people's words too much power over our self-worth. We let them shape how we see ourselves. But here's the truth you need to hold on to. Your worth is not determined by anyone else's opinion, not by their compliments, not by their criticisms, not even by their silence. When you rely on others to validate your worth, you place your emotional well-being in their hands. And that means they get to decide whether you feel confident or crushed. But true emotional freedom, it begins the moment you take that power back. Let's look at a real-world example. A colleague criticizes your work, not in a helpful way, but in a manner that feels sharp, unfair, maybe even personal. Your first instinct might be to defend yourself, or maybe to shrink inward, doubting your abilities. But what if, instead of reacting, you paused and said to yourself, their words? Reflect their perspective, not my value. Just because someone speaks with authority doesn't mean they speak the truth about you. By separating your identity from their opinion, you protect your peace. You stay focused. You don't spiral. Marcus Aurelius, one of the wisest Stoic emperors, said it best. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own. Isn't that true? We nurture our own lives, yet let someone else's fleeting comment ruin our day. We know who we are, yet we let someone who barely knows us define our worth. But this isn't about ignoring feedback or pretending we don't care. It's about filtering what actually matters and letting the rest go. Constructive feedback helps you grow, but random negativity, that doesn't deserve space in your mind. So how do you stop letting others' words define your worth? Here's a simple 3-step practice. Pause before reacting. When someone says something that stings, take a breath. This pause gives you a moment to assess, is this really about me or is this about them? As separate fact from opinion, ask yourself, is there truth here I can learn from, or is this just their perspective? If it helps you grow, embrace it. If it doesn't, let it pass through like wind through open hands. Reaffirm your worth. Your value isn't attached to someone else's approval. It doesn't rise when they praise you, and it doesn't fall when they criticize you. Your worth is constant, unshakable, internal. Lao Tzu offered a timeless truth. Care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner. Letting go of the need for validation doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It simply means you stop caring about opinions that don't serve your growth. You begin to choose whose words carry weight and whose don't. So the next time someone's comment threatens to shake your confidence, ask yourself, am I letting this define me, or am I defining myself? Because no one, not a critic, not a friend, not a stranger, gets to decide your value. You do. And when you live from that place of inner certainty, their words, they lose their power. They become noise, and you remain unbothered. In the previous section, we uncovered the power of detaching your self-worth from other people's words. Now we take one step further into emotional mastery by learning how to protect your energy through one of the most empowering tools you have: setting boundaries. Because when you no longer let others define who you are, the next step is to define what you allow into your space. Lesson 5. Protect your energy by setting boundaries. Picture this. You're in the middle of a hectic day, juggling deadlines and trying to stay afloat. Then your phone rings. It's a friend asking for help, again, with something they could probably handle on their own. Or maybe it's your co-worker, showing up at 4:59 p.m. with a last-minute task. Assuming you'll say yes, just like you always do. You feel that familiar knot in your stomach. You want to help, but deep down, you also feel the tension rising. You know this will throw off your entire evening, and yet it feels so hard to say no. Why? Because many of us were raised to believe that saying yes is kind and saying no is selfish. But here's the truth you need to embrace. Protecting your peace requires boundaries. And boundaries are not selfish, they are necessary. Without them, you hand over control of your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being to anyone who asks for it. Saying yes to everyone else often means saying no to yourself. Think about that. There's a reason the phrase exists. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you keep giving without limits, you'll eventually hit burnout. You'll feel resentful, disconnected from your own needs, emotionally exhausted, and silently frustrated. Boundaries are how you protect your emotional freedom while still maintaining meaningful relationships. They're not about shutting people out. They're about deciding who and what you let in. Here's something to reflect on. When someone crosses your boundary, is it always their fault? Often, it's not. Most people don't intend to overstep. They simply don't know where your boundaries are, because you've never clearly drawn them. People aren't mind readers. If you don't define and communicate your limits, they'll keep pushing unintentionally. That's why setting boundaries is a form of self-respect. It's how you teach others how to treat you. Let's consider an example. You're the friend who's always there for everyone. You get the late-night texts, the phone calls, the emotional check-ins, sometimes at midnight. And while you care deeply, it's taking a toll. You feel drained. Now, instead of silently resenting the people you care about, try saying this: really care about you and I want to be there for you, but I need my evenings to rest and recharge. Can we talk tomorrow instead? Firm, kind, clear. You honor your needs without damaging the relationship. In fact, you strengthen it because it's built on mutual respect, not silent sacrifice. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Freedom is the ability to live as we wish." And what does that mean in daily life? It means choosing where your energy flows, choosing when to engage and when to protect your peace. Living freely doesn't mean you ignore the needs of others. It means you become intentional about how, when, and how much you give. Boundaries help you spend your time with purpose, not pressure. They help you give from a place of abundance, not exhaustion. Here's how to start setting boundaries effectively. Be clear and honest. Communicate your boundaries with calm clarity. Say what you need, directly and respectfully. People are far more likely to respect your limits when they understand them. Philosophers use I statements. This helps reduce defensiveness and prevents blame. For example, instead of saying, "You always bother me after work," say, "I need some quiet time after work to decompress." It's a subtle shift, but it makes all the difference. Stay consistent. Once you set a boundary, uphold it. Consistency sends a message. I value my space, and I protect it. People learn how serious you are, not by what you say, but by what you uphold. Lao Tzu also offered a powerful reminder: he who knows when to stop does not find himself in trouble. Knowing your limits and honoring them prevents emotional burnout. It keeps you from overcommitting, overextending, and ultimately resenting. And here's a key mindset shift. Boundaries aren't walls, they're bridges. Bridges to healthier, more balanced, and more respectful connections. They allow you to be generous, but not depleted, present, but not overwhelmed, supportive, but still whole. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, taken for granted, or pulled in too many directions, pause. Ask yourself, have I clearly communicated my needs? Am I honoring my own limits? If the answer is no, it's not too late to start. Because every time you say no to what drains you, you say yes to what restores you, and that is how you protect your peace without apology. In the last lesson, we explored how setting boundaries protects your energy and preserves your emotional well-being. But even with strong boundaries, there's another subtle thief of peace we must face: the opinions of others. Lesson 6. Detach from the opinions of others. Imagine this. You've just shared an idea you're proud of, maybe in a meeting, maybe with friends, or maybe on social media. But instead of encouragement or curiosity, you're met with raised eyebrows, silence, or even a subtle jab. That sting, it's real. And if you're not careful, it can spiral into self-doubt. Was it a bad idea? Maybe I'm not as capable as I thought. But here's the truth. The pain doesn't come from what they said. It comes from the weight we give their words. So ask yourself honestly, why does their opinion carry so much weight? The need for approval is deeply wired into our nature. It starts when we're children, seeking validation from parents, teachers, and friends. But as adults, if we don't examine it, this need can quietly rule our lives, and relying on external validation. It's like chasing shadows. You can run after it your whole life and never truly catch it. Emotional freedom begins the moment you stop letting other people's opinions define your worth. Think of it this way. Everyone views the world through their own unique lens. That lens is shaped by their experiences, their wounds, their insecurities, not your truth. So when someone criticizes you, it often says more about them than it does about you. When you internalize their opinions, you're handing over the pen and letting someone else write your story. But why let someone else control your narrative? Here's a powerful truth to hold on to. Your worth isn't up for debate. It's not something to be voted on or negotiated. It's intrinsic, unshakable, unaffected by praise or criticism. Let's bring this to life with a simple example. You're wearing a brand new outfit that makes you feel confident. You love how you look, you feel radiant. But a coworker glances at you and says, "That's an interesting choice." Now you have two options. You can let their offhand remark unravel your confidence, replaying it in your mind all day. Or you can smile internally and remind yourself, "I love how I feel, and that's enough." That's what detachment looks like. You don't need everyone's approval to enjoy your life. You need your own permission to show up fully without apology. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." At first glance, that sounds harsh, but in truth, it's liberating. Why? Because growth often requires going against the grain, doing things differently, taking paths others won't understand until they see where it leads. And sometimes, being misunderstood is the price of authenticity. So how do you start detaching from the opinions of others? Here are 3 practical steps. Question their importance. When someone's opinion gets under your skin, pause and ask, "Why does this matter so much to me? What authority does this person have over my life?" Often you'll realize they have none, and that's freeing. 2. Reaffirm your values. Shift your focus inward. What do you stand for? What truly matters to you? Ground yourself in your principles, not their preferences. 3. Practice letting go. When judgment or criticism shows up, don't resist it. Just don't cling to it. Picture their words as leaves floating on a stream. They pass by, and you stay still. You don't need to chase them. You don't need to carry them. Lao Tzu reminds us, care about what other people think and you will always be their prisoner. But detaching doesn't mean shutting people out. It doesn't mean ignoring feedback or isolating yourself. It means filtering. It means discerning what helps you grow and releasing what doesn't serve your peace. Constructive criticism, keep it, learn from it. Unwarranted judgment, let it go. That's not yours to carry. Think of detachment like carrying an umbrella in a rainstorm. The opinions may fall, but they don't soak into your soul. You keep walking, dry, centered, unbothered, and in that space, you live freely. You speak honestly. You show up fully as yourself. Because when you no longer need validation to feel whole, you've found true emotional freedom. In the previous lesson, we explored the power of detaching from others' opinions, learning to stay grounded in your truth, no matter what people say. And now we take the next step on this path of emotional freedom, because even when you no longer let words define you, you'll still face situations where those words sting. So what do you do in the heat of the moment? Lesson 7. Respond with silence, not anger. Picture this. You're in a heated conversation. Maybe it's with a partner, a colleague, or even a stranger online. They say something sharp. Something clearly designed to provoke, to hurt, or to win the argument. Your heart races. Your jaw tightens. You can feel the anger rising like a tidal wave, and the urge to snap back is strong. Now pause. What if, instead of reacting, you simply said nothing? That's not weakness. That's wisdom. Because silence, when chosen intentionally, is one of the most powerful tools you have. It's not about surrender. It's not avoidance. It's about choosing calm over chaos. When someone throws anger at you, they want fuel, they want a reaction, they want you to play their game. But silence, it cuts that game short. It starves the fire of oxygen. It says, "I see what you're trying to do, but I refuse to let you disturb my peace." Silence is a shield. It protects you from impulsive words you might regret. It gives you time to breathe, think, and maintain control. Let's bring this to life with an example. You're in a meeting at work. You share an idea, and a coworker, for whatever reason, tries to undermine you. They speak over you. They throw In a backhanded comment meant to make you look small, you now have two options. Engage in a back and forth that escalates the tension, or pause, take a breath, and let silence speak for you. By saying nothing, you rob them of the drama they seek, and instead you command the room with your composure. That's the high ground. And everyone sees it. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, once wrote, "The best answer to anger is silence," and he was right. Because anger wants to pull you in, it feeds on reactions, but when you offer none, you end the cycle. So do you use silence as your strength? Here are 3 simple practices to help you master the art of silence. 1. Pause before reacting. When someone says something inflammatory, don't fire back. Pause, breathe, let the moment settle. This short space creates clarity and gives you the power to respond, not react. Listen without defending. Sometimes people just want to be heard. Let them speak. You don't need to explain, justify, or interrupt. Often their own words reveal more than anything you could say. Speak only when necessary. If a response is needed, make it calm, measured, and meaningful. No dramatics, no defensiveness, just quiet strength. A beautiful Buddhist teaching reminds us, speak only if it improves upon the silence. That's not about suppressing emotion. It's about expressing it with intention. Silence isn't passive. It's active self-protection. It doesn't ignore the issue, it preserves your energy for when your voice truly matters. How many times have we regretted words spoken in the heat of the moment? How often have we thought, I wish I had just stayed quiet? Silence prevents those regrets. It gives you space to reflect, reassess, and respond thoughtfully, not impulsively. And sometimes, silence says more than words ever could. Next time someone tries to provoke you, ask yourself, will responding help or will it just fan the flames? If it doesn't add value, let silence be your answer. Because silence is not the absence of a response. It's the presence of wisdom. It's the ability to say, your words don't control me. My peace does. And that's how you win battles. Without ever raising your voice. Up next, we'll explore another powerful tool to calm the storm within. Gratitude. Because sometimes the fastest way to dissolve anger is to shift your focus. In the last lesson, we discovered the quiet power of silence, how holding your tongue can often protect your peace far more than saying anything at all. But what if, beyond silence, you had another tool to soften the sharp edges of life? Something that doesn't just deflect negativity, but transforms it from within. That tool is gratitude. Lesson 8. Practice gratitude to dissolve anger. There's something almost magical about gratitude. It doesn't erase challenges, but it reframes them. It doesn't deny pain, but it puts it in perspective. And most powerfully, it turns anger into calm. Here's a truth that might surprise you. You can't feel truly grateful and angry at the same time. Gratitude works like a mental reset button. It interrupts the spiral of frustration and reminds you there is still good, still beauty, still something worth appreciating even here, even now. Let's look at a simple, everyday example. You're stuck in traffic, running late. Every red light feels like a personal attack. You can feel the pressure building, but then you breathe, you pause, and you think of 3 small things you're thankful for. Maybe it's the fact that you even have a car. Maybe it's the opportunity you're headed toward. Or maybe it's just the music on the radio soothing your nerves. It sounds small, even silly. But this tiny shift, it can change your emotional state almost instantly. Gratitude redirects your focus from what's lacking to what's present, from what's going wrong to what's still going right. The philosopher Cicero once said, "Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others." And he was right. Gratitude doesn't just melt anger, It builds resilience. It teaches patience. It strengthens your ability to focus on what truly matters. It's not a fluffy, feel-good trick. It's a powerful tool you can carry with you, anytime, anywhere. So how do you make gratitude a daily habit? Let's break it down into simple, practical steps. Pause and reflect in the moment. When you feel irritation rising, stop. Take a breath and ask yourself, what's one thing I can be thankful for right now? It might be something tiny, but even small moments of gratitude shift your mindset away from rage and into calm. 2. Keep a gratitude journal. At the end of each day, write down 3 things that went well. They don't have to be big. Maybe you made it through the day. Maybe someone smiled at you. Maybe you finished a task you were dreading. Over time, this practice trains your brain to notice the good, even when life is messy. Reframe challenges with gratitude. When something difficult happens, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How could this make me stronger? What do I still have even in this moment? Imagine someone criticizes you harshly. It stings. But instead of snapping back or shutting down, you say, I'm grateful for the chance to grow, even if the message wasn't delivered with kindness. That doesn't mean you excuse the behavior. It means you stay in control of your emotions and out of the chaos. The Buddha offers a beautiful reminder. Let us rise up and be thankful. For if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. If we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. And if we did get sick, at least we didn't die. So let us all be thankful. This isn't toxic positivity. It's a conscious decision to focus on what uplifts you instead of what drags you down. Because anger will always come knocking. But gratitude lets you answer the door with calm and clarity. The next time you feel frustration bubbling up, pause and ask yourself, what can I be thankful for in this exact moment? You'll be amazed at how quickly that shift changes your entire outlook. Gratitude doesn't just push anger away, it replaces it with calm, with clarity, with quiet control. And that's when you realize something profound. Peace isn't something you find. It's something you create. In the previous section, we saw how gratitude can dissolve even the heaviest emotions and shift our focus toward what uplifts us. Now, let's explore one of the most misunderstood but powerful forces on the path of emotional mastery: criticism. Lesson 9. Reframe criticism as a tool for growth. Let's be honest, no one enjoys being criticized. It can feel personal, painful, and triggering, especially when we've worked hard or shared something meaningful. But what if we looked at criticism not as an attack, but as an invitation, a doorway to growth, a challenge that sharpens our perspective, a reflection that reveals something we hadn't seen before? Criticism, no matter how it's delivered, holds value if you're willing to look for it. It can highlight blind spots. It can challenge your assumptions. It can push you toward becoming better, stronger, and wiser. But the key, shifting your mindset. When you stop seeing criticism as something to fear or defend against, and instead see it as something that can serve you, you unlock a superpower. Here's a real-world example. You're working hard on a presentation. You've poured hours into it. You feel good about it. Then a colleague comes along and points out several flaws, some obvious, some subtle. Your instinct might say they're just trying to undermine me. But pause and ask instead, is there truth in what they're saying? How can I use this feedback to make my work stronger? By choosing reflection over reaction, you turn what could feel like an attack into a stepping stone. As the saying goes, criticism, like rain, should be gentle enough to nourish growth, without destroying the roots. That doesn't mean all criticism is helpful. Some people criticize from a place of envy, ignorance, or ego. But even then, You get to choose how you respond. The Stoic path is not about blindly accepting all opinions. It's about filtering, with clarity and humility. So how do we handle criticism with grace? Here's a step-by-step guide. E1. Pause before reacting. The moment you hear a critical remark, take a breath. Don't jump into defense mode. Let the emotions settle and create space for thoughtful reflection. 2. Evaluate the source. Ask yourself, who is giving this feedback? Do they have experience or context? Are they coming from a place of care or control? Criticism from someone who knows you, respects you, and wants to see you grow is different from someone projecting their own insecurity. 3. Find the lesson. Even poorly delivered feedback might carry a valuable insight. Ask, what can I learn from this? Even if the message stings, the lesson could be gold. Let's take it deeper with a personal example. Imagine a family member criticizes your career, your lifestyle, or your personal choices. It hurts because it's close to home. You could react with anger or shut down, but instead you say, I hear your concerns. I'll think about what you said. Simple, mature. It keeps the conversation respectful and gives you the space to process on your own terms. Epictetus, the great Stoic philosopher, reminds us, if someone speaks ill of you, don't make excuses. Simply reply, they clearly don't know the rest of my flaws, otherwise they would have mentioned those too. That's not sarcasm. It's humility. It's grace under pressure. Don't take every comment so personally. Let criticism be part of your growth, not your downfall. The next time someone critiques you, ask yourself, what can I learn from this feedback? Is this about me, or more about them? How can I grow from this moment? Because sometimes what someone says in passing can reveal a truth we've been avoiding. And other times, it's just noise to be released. Lao Tzu offers a timeless reflection. Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Criticism, when viewed through the right lens, becomes a mirror, one that shows you more of yourself, not always comfortably, but truthfully. Growth rarely feels good in the moment, but every time you lean into discomfort instead of avoiding it, every time you pause, reflect, and respond with wisdom, you're building something stronger inside you, resilience, humility, and a deeper sense of who you really are. So the next time criticism comes your way, don't brace for battle. Pause, reframe, receive. Then decide what's worth keeping and let the rest drift away like smoke. Because criticism isn't always an obstacle. Sometimes it's a doorway, and when you choose to walk through it, you grow in ways no insult can ever shrink. In the last lesson, we reframed criticism not as an attack, but as a mirror for self-growth. Now we arrive at the final and perhaps most liberating principle of emotional mastery: letting go. Lesson 10. Master the art of letting go. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It doesn't mean condoning it, excusing it, or pretending it didn't hurt. It means something far more powerful. Releasing the emotional weight that no longer serves you, because as long as you're holding on to anger, resentment, or regret, you're allowing the past to drain your present. You're giving away energy that could be spent on healing, joy, and possibility. The Buddha said it best. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. And when you really sit with that truth, it's sobering. Think back to a time someone hurt you. Maybe it was a betrayal, an unfair judgment, an unkind word that lingered far longer than it should have. How much time did you spend replaying that moment in your mind? How many imaginary conversations did you have? How much energy was lost on revenge fantasies or silent resentment? Letting go is the antidote to this cycle. It's the decision to stop letting someone else's action control your inner state. A simple story to illustrate. You're at work. You present an idea in a meeting, and a colleague takes credit for it. You feel blindsided, frustrated, even violated. Now, you could stew in that anger for days. Let it sour your attitude, affect your focus, disrupt your peace, or you could breathe, step back. And remember, your worth is not defined by one moment of recognition. By letting it go, you protect your energy and redirect it toward your own growth, your next idea, your forward motion. Lao Tzu said, "When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be." Letting go isn't just about forgiving others. It's also about releasing the need for perfection, the fear of failure, the illusion of control. It's about learning to live lightly with open hands, because the tighter you cling, the more you suffer. But the moment you release, you reclaim your peace. Here's how to begin practicing the art of letting go. 1. Acknowledge your emotions. Don't suppress them. Feel the anger, the sadness, the disappointment. Let them surface without judgment. Naming them is the first step to releasing them. 2. Reframe the experience. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How did this make me stronger, wiser, or more compassionate? Every painful moment carries a seed of growth if you're willing to look. 3. Focus on the present. Letting go is not a gift to the person who wronged you, it's a gift to yourself. Return your attention to the here and now, because that's where your power lives. Picture it like this. You're holding a balloon tightly in your hand. The longer you grip it, the more tension you feel. But the moment you let it float into the sky, you feel lighter. That's what letting go feels like. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not be disturbed by what is outside your power. Let it go, and you will find peace." Letting go doesn't mean being passive. It means choosing your battles and protecting your peace like it matters, because it does. When you let go of what you can't control, you make room for what you can. Clarity, focus, joy, healing. So the next time you feel yourself clinging to a grudge, a mistake, or a moment that's long gone, ask yourself, is this worth my peace? What would my life feel like if I finally let this go? Your answer will show you the way forward, because true strength isn't in holding on, it's in knowing when to release, and the moment you do, you'll feel lighter, freer, and more powerful than ever. Final reflection and outro, and there you have it. 10 powerful Stoic lessons to help you master your emotions and stay unbothered, no matter what life throws your way. These lessons aren't just theories, they are tools. Tools you can carry with you into every conversation, every challenge, every moment where peace feels out of reach. Remember, the goal is not to feel nothing, it's to feel deeply, without being ruled by those feelings. It's to pause before reacting, to protect your energy, to choose silence, gratitude, and grace. Emotional mastery isn't about what happens to you, it's about what you choose next. And every time you choose calm over chaos, clarity over conflict, you take one step closer to becoming the unshakable version of yourself that's already within you. If you found value in this video, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who might need a little more calm in their life. Drop a comment below with your thoughts. What resonated most with you? And if you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe to Stoic HAVEWAY, where we explore timeless wisdom to help you live more freely, fully, and fearlessly. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Until next time, take care and stay unbothered.